Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Sunday. This is Anne from the Easing Spirit here. And I decided today what I wanted to talk about was harnessing the power of your intentions. I have this very, very deep belief, and it's actually not even a belief, it's something that my guides have told me that the intention that we set forward in life is everything. So when we're sitting within a situation and we want to see a certain type of outcome, or we want to see things flow and go along a certain type of path, our intention on what we're seeking means everything in that situation. So if you are in a situation where you're worried that things might have a possible negative effect, or things might happen a certain way, when we think too much in that thought process on a darker level, instead of embracing the good that we want to come out of the situation and how we want the situation to go, and setting our intention forward, we can actually create things that we don't want to happen and make them happen. I can give a perfect example of that. Of course, intention comes into manifesting too. So manifesting what it is that you want or how you want things to go. A perfect example of that is I'm going through a divorce, and before it came to the situation of us deciding that a divorce was something that we needed to do, we did a separation. But even before that, earlier last year, it's probably pretty close to almost a year ago, or maybe last summer, my best friend and I had decided that we were going to go on a journey, a spiritual journey, to Sedona, Arizona. Sedona being like the mecca and hub for vortexes and for massive healing and for spiritualism. So we had this all set up that we were going to go on this vacation. We were going to take this spiritual journey together. Her being on her path and me being on my path, we both were trying to grow as individuals, humans, embracing our spiritual side. And my husband kept saying to me that when you leave and you go on this road trip, I'm afraid you're going to leave me when you come back. And that was not something that had crossed my mind. That wasn't even something that I had entertained thinking about. The way I saw things was that I would go on this road trip. I would experience certain things. I would understand certain things. And I would come back from the road trip, and him and I would then reconnect again. And we would start talking about and discussing how we were going to fix things in our marriage. And while I was away on that road trip, there were several times that I video chatted with him, and I shared things that I was seeing and places that I was at and stuff I was experiencing on that trip. Because even though that trip was supposed to be about my spiritual growth, I was still rooted in the need to make him feel like he was okay, everything was okay. And so we did our road trip. And the day that we decided to come back from our road trip, he got very upset about something and expressed himself to me in a way at the time, on a level of energy that I wasn't willing to entertain or deal with, considering I had just went on this road trip and I went through this major healing process. And at the time, I didn't understand how I could disconnect myself from the negative things that were happening around me and still be in my good spiritual space. So this was still a learning process for me. And I had made the decision that I was not going to interact with him for the rest of my trip home. And the negative situation between us was so strong that it finally was absolutely for me the straw that broke the camel's back. And when I finally came back into Washington, I told him I wasn't going to talk to him until I came back into Washington. And when I came into Washington and I got back to my car, I called him and I told him that I wasn't coming home and that I wanted a separation. Now, in looking at that situation, the whole entire time up until I went on that vacation, he kept setting forth the intention that our marriage was going to end. He was manifesting it to happen. I don't think consciously he realized that he was, but his intention was being set forth that we weren't gonna be together anymore. And there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of power in the word that we speak, the things that we put out there, even the intentions and the thoughts that we carry inside of ourselves that fester and build the energy that's within us as human beings. We can't see that electrical charge, but it's absolutely there. And, referring to the book, The Secret, that teaches you the law of attraction, right? That teaches you that what you put out there is what you receive back. And so looking at our intentions and harnessing the power that we actually have within that, what we're capable of doing and manifesting and bringing forth with our intentions is huge in understanding that, right? So he was able to manifest us separating, which is exactly what happened. And then again, as we went down the road a bit, his was, I'm afraid that you're going to find somebody and you're going to want to divorce me and we're not going to stay together. We're not going to be able to work it out. We're not going to fix this marriage. And I kept trying to explain to him that the intentions, and maybe deep down inside, because ultimately when we made the decision to separate from each other, and then I finally just said, I want a divorce, and I put the words out there, and he asked me to say them. He wanted to hear me say it. He needed to hear me say it. Even though it's a very difficult thing, he was just as relieved as I was. And the reason why is because we knew that we were at a point in our life where things just weren't working anymore. We were that dog chasing its own tail in a circle, the same circle, and nothing was changing. And it made relief for both of us. And maybe deep down, in a way, through the times when he was saying, you're going to leave me or you're going to divorce me or this isn't working out, maybe really deep down in his subconscious, that's what he knew needed to happen. And maybe that's why, but it absolutely, his intention was spoken and it manifested to being exactly what he was saying he didn't want, right? And there is a lot of times in our life we'll speak and say that we want a certain thing or we don't want something to happen, when really deep down inside it's our own higher power's way of steering us towards the changes that we have to make in our life to get on the path that we're supposed to be on, to live our authentic selves, and that's a whole nother topic for another day, how our guides and our higher self is involved in all of the things that we do within our human existence, and intentions matter. Every great achievement begins with a very clear and strong intention from the person who is putting that forth, right? Everything that's been created, everything from the internet to cars to books that we read today, to the ability to make telephone calls, all of that stuff, it all came from an intention and an idea, and it was shaped into a reality because somebody saw it being so, right? So they set their intention forth. And now we get to interact on the internet, and now we get to make phone calls and communicate with people who are, hundreds, thousands, and thousands of miles away from us. And when it comes to, different psychological principles of, of intention, how your thoughts and your behavior shape your reality, right? So all of us, we all live within our own reality, okay? And that reality can be based on very strict damaging beliefs, or very very good and open beliefs, right? Beliefs sometimes can be very debilitating. I've done a previous talk on that, where it can definitely block you from doing the things that you want to do, just because of beliefs that are ingrained in you that are not helpful to your greater good. And when it comes to beliefs, there is a difference between having a belief or having a wish or having a goal, or not belief. I'm sorry. There's a difference between having a wish, a goal, or an intention. That's what I meant. So, a wish is just something that you're wishing for. A goal is something that you have set forth, but your intentions are what will actually bring you to that goal in the end. So you have every intention. It's my intention to apply myself and get myself to where I need to be so that I can achieve and reach this goal that I've set forth. So, understanding the difference between having a wish, having a goal, and having an intention is very important. I was having situations between my soon-to-be ex-husband and myself of energy that was building, that was not, it wasn't conducive for either of us. It wasn't helping the situation whatsoever. And it was actually causing negativity that was building between us. And I kept thinking to myself, well, I'm over here being all nice and quiet, and I'm trying to be a better person in a better place. And he's over here all freaking out and being animated. But, in all due respect, each of us are on our different path. Right? And so even though I was thinking, well, I'm over here being all quiet, I was thinking also in my mind of, when's the next shoe going to drop? How is he going to react to this? How is he? So my mental intention was not a positive one, because I wasn't focusing on the positive outcome of the situation that we were in. I was more focusing on how he was going to react, or where the negativity was going to come from, or when was going to be the next crazy situation, right? And so the intention that I put into that, even mentally, even though I was saying, well, I really wish, or I really want, or I'm really hoping for, my thought process was different. So that energy was still building inside of me negatively, right? And so it's really important. Another thing about it too is speaking out what you want positively to happen, and not speaking on dark things that you're worried about or what you think could go wrong, because that's another way that you can warp your intention when you speak it out. If there's a situation where you're hoping it's going to go a certain way, but you say things like, well, let's just hope woo woo doesn't happen. Was there really any reason for that to come out? And with that coming out, was that for your greater good? Probably not. And it can definitely distort what your actual intention is, because your words have power, your voice has power. And every time you speak, energy is spewing out of you the entire time. So it depends on what type of energy you're trying to put out there. Do you want it to be a warm, loving, kind energy? Do you want it to be a bubbly and high, electrical energy? Do you want it to be a sad energy, or a negative energy, or an angry energy? So everything that you bring out of yourself verbally, and that you speak and that you carry within your person, that's all part of your intention too. So setting good, healthy intentions on where it is that you want to be, the path that you want to walk, what you want to surround yourself with and what you want to give to others is everything with your body language, your thought process, and the words that you speak. So, I encourage everybody to find something find something that is important to you and set your intention. I challenge you to do that. Have that conversation with yourself in the mirror and set that intention forth, that positive intention, right? Setting your intentions makes them already real. Once you put it out there, it's already real. You've now made it real. So now embody that and follow through with that, and have that be your thought process, your body language, and your spoken word. Follow everything through to the end so that the positive things come to you that you're seeking, and the negative things are not even a part of the equation in any way, So, life is definitely, I'll leave on this because I'm going to make this short today. I've got other things that are on my plate that have got me busy, but life is shaped by the power of your intentions. And what will you create? That's my question for you. What will you create? So I thank everybody for watching today. Please click subscribe below, or you can also visit me on my Facebook business page, The Easing Spirit. I appreciate everybody who watched today, and I say lead your life every day in love and light, and namaste. Bye.